Did Indira Gandhi give away precious bits of India and actually hand over territory to Sri Lanka? This question is about this island, the Katchatheevu island in between India and Sri Lanka. And it's all come up right now because of a statement made by the Prime Minister. We're going to break it all down in this video. Now, on Sunday, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a statement on Twitter or X, said basically that the Congress government, according to new facts revealed in an RTI, callously gave away the Katchatheevu island to Sri Lanka back in 1974 when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister. He went on to say that this has angered every Indian and reaffirmed in people's minds that the Congress party is not to be trusted. On Monday, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar actually bolstered that stance, and he said because of the Congress and the DMK, because they gave away the island, 6,184 Indian fishermen and 1,175 fishing vessels were detained by the Sri Lankan authorities in the last 2 decades. Now, to find out what the history is, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go back in this video. The Katchatheevu island is a tiny island in between these two countries. It's less than 2 kilometers in length. It's about 300 meters in width. It's 33 kilometers off the coast of India and 62 kilometers from Jaffna, which is Sri Lanka's northernmost tip. Now, nobody lives on the island. The only structure is a Catholic shrine to Saint Anthony, who is the patron saint of sailors and fisherfolk, and that is administered by the Diocese of Jaffna, which is a part of the Catholic Church that's in Sri Lanka. Now, once a year, there's an annual festival where Christian priests from both countries actually come there with pilgrimages from both countries, and they actually conduct a service. I must tell you here, though, this year in February, the fisherfolk from Tamil Nadu did not go because they were protesting against the Sri Lankan government's continued arrests of Indian fishermen because of poaching. The island is not suited for anybody to permanently live there because there is no source of drinking water on that island. Now, where has all this controversy come from? According to the Times of India, this was an RTI reply that was actually filed by BJP's Tamil Nadu chief, K. Annamalai. Now, this RTI reply suggested that Indira Gandhi, when she was Prime Minister, seceded the island off the coast of Tamil Nadu. There are 2 documents in question. One is a backgrounder prepared by the Ministry of External Affairs back in 1968. And the second is a record of a discussion between the Foreign Secretary and the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, who was M. Karunanidhi. After that, after the controversy broke out, we had Shiv Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi, who furnished another RTI, quoting the 2015 reply by the External Affairs Ministry that said that there was no question of either acquiring or ceding territory belonging to India because in 1974, the area had not been demarcated, so it didn't belong to anybody, so we haven't actually given it up. Now, what has actually happened? This island's history is of course fraught with controversy. In the medieval periods, it belonged to Sri Lanka's Jaffna kingdom. After that, it switched over to the Ramnath kingdom of India. And during the British colonial rule, it was part of the Madras presidency. Now, the ownership came into question really in 1921 during the British colonial rule, where fishing rights had to be divided between the government of Madras and then the Ceylon administration. And even when at that time, both of these administrations were run by the British, they among themselves could not reach any sort of clear understanding. A survey marked the island as part of Sri Lanka, but the British delegation of India challenged that and said, because of that challenge, it was not ratified as belonging to either of the 2 territories. But Ceylon sort of, then maintained de facto control over it. And this continued into, past independence. In fact, there's a statement in 1961 by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was our first Prime Minister, who said, and I quote, "I attach no importance to this little island. I would have no hesitation in giving up our claims to it. I do not like this pending indefinitely and being raised again in Parliament," end quote. Now, according to recent RTI revelations published in the Times of India, this was despite the opinion of the Attorney General at that time, who believed that India has a strong claim to the island. Now, the dispute remained and continued to sort of bubble until 1974, when Indira Gandhi signed the Indo-Sri Lanka Maritime Agreement in order to improve sort of relationships with our southern neighbor. Now, analysis of those official documents by the print has said that there is no mention of this territory, that India was going to cede the territory to Sri Lanka. The deal basically just draws out latitude and longitude as a maritime boundary between the two. And the island effectively, because of that, went to Sri Lanka because Indira Gandhi thought it would be of very little strategic value to India, and also believed that the gesture would deepen India's ties with our neighbor. Fisherfolk at that point were allowed access to the island, but the rights of what sort of access they would be given were not properly defined. In Sri Lanka, they interpreted that to just being able to rest, to dry their nets, and to visit the Catholic shrine on the island. The confusion then actually became a lot worse after 1976, because India had an emergency, and during the emergency, New Delhi banned either country from fishing in each other's economic zones, and that sort of made this a hard line, which it was not up till then. Sri Lanka also started, wars that turned into problems at that time, and we're going to get back to it. But the Congress and the opposition has rebutted the BJP and said, you know what, this is not the first time in the history of India there's been a land swap. In 2015, the BJP government, the Modi government, had in fact pushed an agreement with Bangladesh and India that had been in works for decades to sort of, reconcile the enclaves that are part of each other's boundaries. So there's a boundary between India and Bangladesh, but there are small pockets where there are Bangladeshi pockets sitting inside India territory and Indian pockets sitting inside Bangladeshi territory. So there was an attempt to reconcile all of that in a land swap, in where New Delhi transferred 111 enclaves to Dhaka, and New Delhi received 51 enclaves. But in that swap, we understand that Dhaka received more land per acre than, India did. And so this is being used by the opposition as an example of the fact that these sort of borders are constantly being reconciled. Now, let's go back to the island. For after that deal was signed, the remaining 15 years, it sort of became a little quiet. Nobody talked about it. But Chief Minister Jayalalitha brought it up in 1991, and there were a lot of debates that then continued in the Tamil Nadu Assembly for 15 years between Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi. In 2008, in fact, Jayalalitha, Karunanidhi had gone to Supreme Court, but in 2008, the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister made a statement saying it doesn't matter what the Indian Supreme Court decides, it will have no bearing or binding on his country. And the hearing of the petitions at that point, Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi had actually told the Supreme Court in 2014 that it's impossible. Whatever is decided to retrieve that island from Sri Lanka, we'll actually have to go to war to do it, and nobody wants to do that. After the Prime Minister's statement that was made on Sunday, the DMK president and the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin basically said the Prime Minister is trying to get fisherfolk to vote for him. The BJP and the AIDMK are on one side of this argument. The Congress and the DMK are on the other side. And they've sort of been exchanging allegations. But it's important to note at this point what the Sri Lankan government is saying. The Sri Lankan government is yet to comment on anything officially that has been said by either our Prime Minister and our External Affairs Minister. It also could be because New Delhi has not sent any official statement to Sri Lanka, but the country's local media has responded to the controversy. Take a look at this. The Daily Mirror on Tuesday has said, and I'm quoting, "Sadly, even the seemingly unflappable Indian External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has dropped all pretense of statesmanship and joined hands with his premier to rouse communal feelings in the hope of gaining a few votes in Tamil Nadu," end quote. The Daily Financial Times published an editorial that is titled, "Katchatheevu is not India's to give away," end quote. Now, there are a lot of analysts that have responded to this. One of the responses is, this particular Modi government has been in power for 10 years and has not really made a statement or an attempt to bring the island back, if at all that is possible. And since you were in power, have you done anything about it? The second concern is, of course, of disrupting relationships between India and Sri Lanka by bringing up this island. and questioning really what its value is in terms of the larger idea of our relationship. The third analysis is about the idea of nationalism. Remember, in the 2019 elections, nationalism played a really large part. We were talking about Pulwama, we were talking about India standing her ground, ghar mein ghus ke marengi, that sort of thing. In this election, nationalism has not played such a large part. It's more about, Ram Mandir and, domestic pride or local pride within India. We've not talked so much about Arunachal Pradesh. We've been putting out another video about what's happening there. We've not talked so much about what's happening with China in, after Galwan Valley, and those sort of relationships have not been ironed out completely. So is this a way to sort of bring nationalism into the conversation? Because it's very interesting. Because of the Karunanidhi angle, it brings the DMK in and it brings the Congress in because of Indira Gandhi. So these two arguments then very plays into the narrative of the BJP, because it actually shows that these were the two parties involved. So there are a couple of gains here for the BJP. The Tamil Nadu BJP is looking to increase its numbers in Tamil Nadu, and the fisher folk in Tamil Nadu, like I said, this is an emotive issue for them. Both access to the shrine and the fact that these arrests are being made by Sri Lanka, and they wanted more attention, from Delhi about it. This is important to them. And there have been, of course, voices from Tamil Nadu who have always said that Delhi was making these decisions and Delhi doesn't understand Tamil Nadu as well. So really the Prime Minister bringing this up might be important and emotive for the voters in Tamil Nadu. The Congress rebutting, of course, and saying, how can you accuse Indira Gandhi, who during her regime managed to split Pakistan in half, change the entire map of Southeast Asia by creating a Bangladesh and aiding that Bangladesh through the wars that she fought? How can you accuse her now of giving up Indian territory because of one small island? But my guess is we're going to hear a lot more of this in the next few days as the campaign continues. But now you know all of the background to this little island that is now in the eye of the storm.